Welcome to the John and Heidi Show podcast, brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVRealtor.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Hey, baby, how you doing?
Hey, I'm super. How are you?
I'm good. We got a lot of fun stuff that we're going to be talking about today. I've got a special guest coming up later in the program. Travis Langley is the author of The Walking Dead Psychology, and it's really kind of a cool book. I've got it. Where do I have it? Here it is, back here. And I'm not into the whole Walking Dead and zombies and all that stuff. We don't watch any of this stuff. But I know there are a lot of people that do. And if you're into this kind of thing, you'll want to be listening later to hear all about this. The guy that did the actual foreword on this book is John Russo. He was the co-creator of Night of the Living Dead, and I'm pretty sure that's where it all started. I think that was like the original first zombie movie, so I can't wait to chat with Travis Langley later in the program. Also, did you know a deficiency of vitamin D could significantly increase your risk of developing certain types of cancer? This is from new research from Roswell Park Cancer Institute. So make sure you get as much vitamin D as you possibly can. Otherwise, you might become a zombie.
A zombie.
See how I tied that in?
Yeah, that was brilliant.
Great news. You can have breakfast anytime you want at a certain fast food place. We'll tell you all about that. It's in the Mick News coming up in a bit.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. Get razors for $1 a month plus a few bucks shipping, so you can enjoy fresh razors every month for as little as $3. Learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio.
Big McNews from McDonald's, Heidi. All-day breakfast at McDonald's is an apparent success. According to an internal company memo obtained by the Wall Street Journal, those guys are good, McDonald's operators are being advised to prepare for a nationwide extension of the all-day breakfast as early as October.
I'm
cool.
actually surprised that it's taken them this long to do that.
There's a movie, Big Daddy, is that what it's called? Adam Sandler, remember that? Was it Big Daddy?
Something like that.
Something like that. Anyway, this is 15 years ago maybe. Maybe even more than that. In that movie, they were complaining that breakfast was done at a certain time, and it turned into quite the rigmarole. And there's another movie with Michael Douglas. What is the movie called again?
Falling Down.
Falling Down. In that movie, he gets really upset.
He gets very upset that he can't have breakfast.
It's only been a matter of time before this was going to happen. And, folks, it is happening in October. I wonder how long it'll take before everybody else follows McDonald's on this deal. Because I think that they all should. Burger King, I'm talking about you. I want my croissant sandwich when I want it.
I don't know what it matters. I mean, they've got all the stuff. You zap fry all of it anyway. So what difference does it make if you have it all available?
I'm either going to microwave this for you at noon or I'm going to microwave it for you at 10 a.m. When am I going to microwave it for you? All right. I know there's a lot more to it than that. We probably just upset some people right now. They're like, hey, it's not what we do. All right. Thanks for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RVRealtor.com. If you want to buy or sell an RV, go to RVRealtor.com. List your RV for free. Learn more at RVRealtor.com.
Well, you know it's true because you heard it on the radio. Take a listen to this. How much would you pay for a device that would give you a green light anytime you pushed a button?
There's no way.
Well, wouldn't it be great if you could? Turns out there's some scam artists in Miami that are hoping you'll fall for this. They don't really exist, but they have a thing called a Go Box, and they promise that they'll change red lights to green with a push of a remote control button. Mm-hmm. But there was no Go in their Go Box. People sent checks to purchase the device, often got instructions on how to build a Go Box, which turned out to be nothing more than a flashing strobe light. Others got nothing at all. The Go Boxes were advertised on the internet to sell for $69 all the way up to $150. The suspects, Johnny Green and Lisa Moon, were indicted on charges of mail fraud and wire fraud. So they were thinking, what are you going to do, call the police? Because you're the one wanting to break the law, pushing these buttons. Go ahead and turn us in.
Why would you? Who would even fall? I mean, I guess clearly some people fell for it, but how would you fall for that?
Put this package away before you see the... fell for it. I didn't really fall for it. I just think it's interesting that the guy's last name is Green, Johnny Green, and they were trying to sell people on a button that will make lights turn green. So,
wow, that's
kind of cool.
That's really something.
So
I'm sure his parents are proud.
I personally would not mind if there was some sort of way to fix some of the lights. There are lights that I'll pull up to that stay
red forever.
And I've called the city and complained about it, one in particular, and they did fix it because it was just out of sync with the rest of them, where you'd be driving along and then that one would turn red, and then you'd have to sit through like every red light because of that one light. I was like, if you could fix that one light, I don't know what the deal is. All the others were like in sync where you travel through, but they had this one that was just like a quirky thing, and they did fix it, which was awesome. So
you're one of those people.
I am one of those people. I want the world to make sense. I'm like, if this would be fixed, it would fix all of that. I'm like,
just
come on.
Don't ever bother the city with things.
I'm not trying to bother them. I'm saying, hey, you got all these traffic problems. It's because of this light. Can you fix that now? Thank you. Who am I? I'm Heidi Small. All right. You know it's true because you heard it on the radio.
The John and Heidi Show is brought to you in part by the Keystone Treatment Center.
This is your brain, and this is your brain on drugs. We share silly stories here on the program, but addiction is no joke. If you or someone you know suffers with an addiction to drugs or alcohol, make today the day you seek help.
Call toll-free 844-204-1055.
That's a toll-free number. Again?
844-204-1055.
They say honesty is the best policy, and I agree with that, don't you?
Absolutely, I agree with that.
Sometimes it might not help, but at least it doesn't hurt more, because if you lie, you'll get yourself in more trouble, but being honest is always the right way to go. Well, recently an Ohio police officer pulled over a van that was swerving, and the driver was a little under the influence, we'll say. After pulling over 42-year-old Nancy Lang to give her a sobriety test, she said, "Please, just give me a break. I'm drunk."
Oh.
Believe it or not, she was arrested. How did that happen? Charged with speeding, driving under the influence of alcohol, driving with a suspended license, and driving with expired license plates. But the good news is, at least she was honest. You know, she has that going for her.
You can't really lie about it. They're going to know.
She's got all that terrible negative stuff, but at least on the good side, she was honest to the guy. So there you go. She's got that going for her. I think it's funny that they put her age right in there. 42-year-old Nancy Lang.
Yeah, what does that have to do with anything?
In this, I guess, just want to throw that in there, too. Oh, by the way, she's over 40, too. Could have said maybe she's single. 42-year-old single.
42 single woman.
Could be worse. She could have gotten in an accident or died or something. So the good news is, at least she just had her brain on drugs.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Keystone Treatment Center. Addiction is no laughing matter. Call Keystone Treatment Center toll-free at 1-844-204-1055.
Now your moment of duh. Andrew Aquilini thought that he snagged a great bargain for a 52-inch plasma screen TV on eBay. Turned out it was kind of his moment of duh.
Stolen?
Instead of a plasma television with a great picture, he ended up paying $2,000 for a 52-inch picture of a TV set. Andrew was one of the 3 people scammed by an 18-year-old named Brian Kim. Buyers thought they were getting a TV with a great picture. Instead, they were just paying thousands of dollars for a picture of a plasma TV.
Oh, man.
Andrew and 2 other scammed buyers alerted eBay, who quickly contacted authorities. Mr. Kim was arrested and charged with theft by deception. So
wouldn't they have known when they went? I mean, when you went there to pick it up.
Well, it was shipped to them. He bought it on eBay.
Well,
so buyer beware.
Okay.
So when it was shipped to them, you know, they're like, "Well, it's a great deal on postage. It's 42 cents." Please unfold. How much is a stamp nowadays? It's more than 42 cents.
Oh, I don't even know. I just buy them by the roll now. I
do the forever stamps.
I try not to know because I have a little mini anxiety attack every time I stick one on an envelope then because it's a lot of money.
I could have bought a cup of coffee for that.
Yeah.
Or a splash of gas. All right, there you go. This guy got his moment of duh. We all have our scoop of the day coming up. And later in the program, Travis Langley, the author of The Walking Dead Psychology. That is on the way on the John and Heidi Show.
The scoop of the day is brought to you by Wells Blue Bunny. If you want delicious ice cream, be sure to look for the Blue Bunny. Sure to have your favorite flavors. Learn more at bluebunny.com.
Now, your scoop of the day. Pentagon computers are reportedly targeted by hackers as many as 250,000 times a year. Isn't that crazy? We know somebody who works there, and he works in the IT department. So, Richard, you stay on your toes, my friend. 250,000 times a year they're trying to hack you guys? That is nuts. A recent study says obese kids miss school more than kids who are not obese.
Okay.
So saying if you've got a child that's overweight, they miss school more often. I wonder why that is. staying home to...
Probably because they're unhealthy.
See, I guess some, maybe, but not all. The average American spends about an hour in the bathroom every day, or 2 weeks every year. A survey by the National Association for Continence, didn't know there was such a thing, found that a third of respondents said they find comfort and relief from life's stresses in the bathroom. So they're stressed out at work. Where do they go? I'm going to go just sit on a stall and read my smartphone. Jesse Ventura says he likes the fact that because Trump is funding his own campaign, that he's nobody's puppet. Ventura thinks that other presidential candidates should have to wear NASCAR-type suits with the names of all their corporate sponsors and the suits showing who the candidate really belongs to.
I've actually heard that before, and I didn't know that came from him.
Yeah,
because
Jesse
I'm not
Ventura.
a huge Jesse Ventura
do you think
fan.
The fact that Trump is being supported by Jesse Ventura
I don't know that that's
help or
necessarily
hurt?
going to help. No.
A school library in Sweden is refusing to lend books to students whose underwear is showing. So if you have your underwear showing, the school library is not going to let you get books anymore. Do you think those are the kids that are trying to get books anyway?
They're typically not hanging out in the library.
I'm saying usually when you picture some kid hanging out in the library reading, he's usually not the same kid that's hanging out with his underwear.
That'll show him.
Yeah. So there. People who sleep more or fewer than 7 hours a day, including naps, are increasing their risk of cardiovascular disease. Let me say that again. Who sleep more or fewer than 7 hours a day.
So you have to sleep exactly
7.
Exactly 7 hours.
Cardiovascular disease is a leading cause of death in the U.S. Sleeping fewer than 5 hours a day, including naps, and that more than doubles the risk of being diagnosed with angina, coronary heart disease, heart attack, stroke. The study is from the West Virginia University School of Medicine. I better get more sleep because I don't think I get that much. They say sleeping more than 7 hours increases the risk also. So they're saying 7 hours is the magic number.
It has to be not 6 hours and 58 minutes.
Yeah, 7 hours.
7 hours.
It took $140,000 of your tax dollars to prove it, but scientists have confirmed that women are really more sensitive than men.
Oh, good Lord.
Ladies
are you kidding me?
Are quicker to cry when they're upset. They're more sympathetic to others who are in emotional pain. They're more likely to hug somebody who is not a blood relative. A 6-year government-funded study came out with those results. $140,000. That's going to make
First of all, I
me
disagree.
cry. That's going to make me cry. I'm just saying. What do you disagree about? Because I cry more than you do?
Yes, you cry more than I do.
It's because I have a heart, young lady. Did I just call you heartless?
I cry out of anger and frustration.
Oh, I know. I see that once in a while. And then
You
I'm like,
cry.
I'm sorry. That's sad movies. Sad
commercials.
Hey, let's move on. Think back to your last car purchase. If you made it with your spouse, who really made the decision? If you ask him, he'll say, oh, it was me. Unless, of course, you ask her, then she says, well, it was me. So they both think they made the decision. A recent survey found 72% of men believe they were the ones with the most influence, while 60% of women think they had the most say. I'll just say this. In our relationship, if it's something you want, I'm like, yeah, go for it. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. I'll let you make the decisions all day long. You know why? Then I don't have to make decisions.
No, it's because so that if something goes wrong, you can say, I told you shouldn't have done that.
That works too. I'm a big fan of that backup plan. And we're going to end with our strange law. In Maryland, clotheslines are forbidden, but you are allowed to hang your clothes on a fence. So you cannot put up a clothesline, but if you want to hang clothes outside, you can put them on a fence. I have an idea for a fence. Maybe you just have one post on each end and just like a wire for the top of the fence.
That's
just
my
do that.
fence.
That's just a fence. That's a clothesline. No. It's my fence. It's your strange law, and this has been your scoop of the day.
This portion of the program is brought to you by RoughToughKennels.com. Dog kennels and accessories sent to your front door wherever you live. Your dog deserves it. Learn more at RoughToughKennels.com.
Thank you so much for listening to the John and Heidi Show on a Wednesday. Get to talk to a lot of fun people, and today I'm excited to talk with Travis Langley. Now, there's a lot of people who tuned in recently to watch the premiere of a new show called Fear of the Walking Dead. It came out on the 23rd, so what was that, Sunday? And there's been a huge amount of popularity around the show The Walking Dead, and this was a spin-off of that. And this is, for whatever reason, people are just super excited about zombies, and Travis was smart enough to put a book out. It's called The Walking Dead Psychology, Psych of the Living Dead. And we have Travis with us right now. Travis, thank you so much for joining us. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great.
Well, Travis, perfect timing on getting out the book. It's called The Walking Dead Psychology, Psych of the Living Dead. How long have you been working on this? Has this been in process for quite a while?
Well, I was born. No, let's see. Gosh, it's been in my head for a long time. If you go to early issues of the comic book, there are 3 issues where in the letter column, I have letters analyzing this stuff way back when. So this has always been in my head. I've always loved The Walking Dead. Even before The Walking Dead, my sons and I were forming zombie survival plans, kiddingly, but we did it a lot because it was fun.
Well, and the cool thing is the foreword by John Russo, co-creator of The Night of the Living Dead. Is that kind of where everything started? You know, zombies, as we talk about nowadays, this isn't something that's been around for a long time. It's fairly new, isn't it?
Essentially, John invented the Living Dead. George Romero, he was doing his Night of the Ghouls movie and Night of the Flesh Eaters. And he did not know why these people were out to try to eat the people in the farmhouse. And John suggested it should be the recently deceased. And just with that simple suggestion, John invented this kind of ghoul, this kind of zombie, what we refer to as zombies. But no, it's a big boom these days. You know, 1/3 of all zombie movies have come out in about the last 14 years.
And it's been huge on television, too. Fear the Walking Dead premiered on Sunday, and that, of course, is a spin-off of The Walking Dead, and this genre has been huge. People really enjoy it. I don't quite understand why, but they just really do, don't they?
Well, the zombie simplifies the monster in some ways. In this complicated age of communication where we've gotten more and more information and more stories, some of the classic monsters have been kind of worn out. You know, people who watched Bela Lugosi as Dracula in the 30s found him creepy and scary, but you know, that's been a joke for many, many years. Now, the zombies range from those who are dripping blood to those who are heroic to those who are sparkling. The zombies, the vampires are. The zombies don't sparkle. They don't do any of those things. They're monsters. We know what the zombie is. It's straightforward, clear-cut, and you understand that monster. It is risen. It's a dead body. It's going to try to bite you and kill you. It simplifies the monster to get to the essence of the monster story, but putting in the broader context of the people you're interacting with and surviving with. And The Walking Dead gets to go to the long, ongoing, long form where just a movie can't quite get to.
Again, we're visiting with Travis Langley, author of The Walking Dead Psychology, Psych of the Living Dead. Now, there actually is some psychology in this. Now, let's talk about where zombies and psychology collide. Let's explain that.
Of course, The Walking Dead, it is so popular instead of some other zombie story that could have emerged because of the richness of the characters and the complexity and the psychology of them, the variety of what we see. So I get to use this and the people who contributed chapters to the book to talk about things like what brings out the best and worst in people. What are your coping strategies? How do you deal with stress? How do people deal with trauma? And something like post-traumatic growth. This is a phenomenon we see in some people who show some aspects of post-traumatic stress disorder, but not the full set, and they're not crippled by it. They're not crushed by it. Instead, they hang on to things, maybe more so than other people, but don't get over it, so to speak. But instead, they use that to empower themselves and become stronger, find their purpose in life. Like Candace Lightner, whose daughter got killed by a drunk driver. And Candace went on to found Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, MADD, as it was originally called.
Yeah.
She found a purpose. She used her pain to grow. Characters like Daryl and Carol on The Walking Dead, they grow as people, find strength they did not know they had. A lot of people, when they hear about that I'm writing about stuff like this, will go, "Oh, if there was a zombie apocalypse, I'd be dead the first day." I don't know. You know, a lot of people think they wouldn't handle crisis as well as they actually do in the worst of situations. You look at 9/11 and how people pulled together. You look at hurricanes around the world and disasters, and yeah, there are people who are falling apart. There are people who are turning on others, but the majority of people are pulling together and helping each other.
Excellent point. Now, I'm not a huge zombie fan myself, but I must have friends on Facebook that are, because on Sunday, Fear the Walking Dead premiered, and everybody was talking about it. And I've been really excited to get a chance to visit with you about this, because I'm going to admit, I don't get it. That's not one of my things. You know, and I apologize. It's not my thing, but I can also tell you, I know as a culture, people do get it. And I know this is huge. I know this is something, it's funny because like 3 or 4 years ago, probably more than that, 6 years ago, I was hired to be the voice in a video game. I'm the voice of a Elvis impersonator that kills zombies in some video game. I don't own a copy of the game. I don't even know what it's called. I just know they hired me to do this, and I'm like, whatever. And I still can't believe what a big deal this is between video games and TV shows and movies and books. Why in the world are zombies so popular right now? Is there a reason that this is happening now?
Well, a lot of reasons. I mean, there'd be a list of them. I think part of it is just the complexity of the world. But we're also living in a world where a lot of people are acting like zombies, so wrapped up in their phone that they end up falling into the fountain at the mall, just like a zombie out of Dawn of the Dead.
Yeah.
Yet we are in this world where you see people and you worry, it's like, are we losing our humanity? Are we losing touch with each other? And the zombies touch on that in a way that other monsters don't. You know, werewolves, they're still people most of the time. Vampires, okay, even with scarier vampires, they have qualities that they had as a person. So somehow, in a way, they've retained more of their humanity than those zombies do. And the zombies touch on that fear of losing our humanity. And then the characters themselves. Because it's not about the zombies, even though my subtitle is Psych of the Living Dead. The book is mostly about the living people dealing with the stressful situation, dealing with each other.
Again, we're visiting with Travis Langley, the author of The Walking Dead Psychology, Psych of the Living Dead. Now, Travis, something that's really cool. We're going to talk about where to get your book here in a second, but if you are a fan of The Walking Dead, or if you play the video games, or if you're reading the books, or if you're watching the movies, there really is something good that comes from that because, in a sense, you're actually preparing. Now, maybe it's not for the zombie apocalypse, but if there's a tornado or a natural disaster, or like you even mentioned earlier, 9/11 or a hurricane, if something like that happens in your area and you've been, watching this stuff, you know a little bit about what to do, you're more prepared.
A friend was telling me about her niece and her friends who go along, looking at shacks, ooh, that would be a good place to hide from the zombies. She was saying, is that healthy? It's like, well, you know what? In an odd way, it is a form of disaster preparedness. Say the hurricane comes in, that kid knows a place to go hide.
Well, the funny thing is, I was at the hardware store with my son not too long ago. He said kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your book, Travis. The Walking Dead Psychology, Psych of the Living Dead. Where can we find it?
It's all over the place. Barnes & Noble has more copies than anywhere else, but it's there. It's on Amazon. It is not hard to find at all. And you can find me on Twitter at Superherologist. I tweet a lot. I love talking to people online.
Well, I have to follow you. Now, how do I find you? What was that again?
Superherologist.
Superherologist.
Yeah, or just look up Travis Langley instead of worrying how to spell that. I'm easy to find.
All right. Again, author Travis Langley been visiting with us today. The book is called The Walking Dead Psychology, Psych of the Living Dead. And kudos on getting John Russo to do the foreword. That is such a cool thing that you got him to do that. And I didn't know.
It was an honor. It was an honor.
Until you and I talked. I knew he was a part of Night of the Living Dead, but I had no clue that he kind of created this genre. That's really cool.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
So very, very nice. Again, get out, find a book. If you got a favorite place to get your book, buy it there. The Walking Dead Psychology. And again, Travis, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you much.
And thank you for listening to the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by CarsForSale.com. If you're in the market to buy a car, truck, or van, find thousands of vehicles to choose from at CarsForSale.com.
Today is a special day, Heidi. Do you know what today is?
What is today, John?
I thought you'd never ask. Today is National Dog Day. We get to celebrate twice. We got 2 dogs.
We do have 2 dogs.
It is also, on a completely unrelated topic, National Toilet Paper Day. Although, I will tell you, if you put a roll of toilet paper on the floor and let your dogs play with it, they will have a blast. So you can celebrate. Oh, have you ever seen dogs kicking toilet paper around?
No, cats maybe.
No, dogs too. Cats, yes, but dogs definitely do it. I guarantee it.
They do not.
We're going to celebrate today. It's also tug
You give
of
our
war.
dogs a roll of toilet paper. If they do anything with it, I will apologize on the air tomorrow.
We'll do it.
And they're not. They'll be looking like.
I might have to get it started.
Okay, so tomorrow on our website there's going to be a video of John playing with toilet paper on the floor, hoping our dogs will get involved.
Our dogs are lazy. They're just going to sit there and look at me like, you done playing? Look at the mess you've made. It's also Tug of War Day and Women's Equality Day. So all of that is going on this special day, Wednesday, the 26th day of August.
This portion of the program is brought to you by StoneGroupArchitects.com. It's more than a building. It's design and function working together. Check out the project portfolio at StoneGroupArchitects.com.
Thank you so much for listening on a Wednesday. I've got a really cool thing here for anybody that has a boss that they're maybe not fond of. How to deal with a bad boss. It's from the Worst Case Scenario Survival Handbook, Work. Authors have Joshua Piven and David Borscheich. They have a whole list of things here. So if you've got a control freak at work that micromanages every move you make, you're supposed to bombard them with emails and reports and meetings. That'll overwhelm them, and then they're like, you know what, I don't want to bug her because she's going to send me 800 emails about this. If you've got one that's a buddy that wants to be your pal, how are you supposed to deal with them? Include them, but keep your distance. Invent a fictional hobby. Extend invitations that you know they can't accept, but avoid hugs. So you're supposed to say, hey, I don't know what you're doing on Friday. Like if you already know they're busy on Friday. I don't know what you're doing on Friday, but I'm going to go skydiving. Do you want to come with me? You know, come up with some weird things that they probably don't want to do. But then if you're the buddy, then all of a sudden they're going to back off, according to this book. I don't know if that would work. You might have to go skydiving Friday.
We hug all of our employees.
I do. I'm like, come over and give me a hug. Would you please just leave me alone? Do I seriously have to give you a hug to get my paycheck? No, you don't. We don't really do that. Hey, the workaholic. If you've got one that a boss that's maybe sacrificed their life for their job and they expect everybody else to, let them know there is life outside of work. Discuss family, friends, hobbies at every opportunity so they know that, hey, you do have a life. If you've got a boss that's a teller of bad jokes, and I always have one for you, be prepared for the painful punchline and pretend you're amused. Then change the subject. So far, I am all of these. Have you noticed that?
That's why I was laughing.
The supreme delegator. Now, here's one that's not me. They take all the credit, but they don't do anything because
that
they're
is
always
definitely
delegating.
not you. That is definitely
in
not
writing,
you.
advise on all key decisions and plans, but be prepared for denial or knowledge if anything goes wrong. So they're saying if you have somebody that takes all the credit but never any of the blame, just keep a good record. That's what they're saying. If you have a yes-no manager, they could care less about information. All they want is a yes or a no. Present summaries of several alternatives and give them the chance to say yes or no. Other ones are indecision maker. Somebody can't make decisions. Give them an informal survey of key employees who might have a stake in the problem and let them make it simple and easy. And the last one on here is the all business is personal manager. They can't separate business and personal life. How to deal? Make your work time enjoyable, but one bad incident could ruin your work relationship. In the long run, though, they say your nightmare could turn into a sweet dream. That toxic supervisor could be the motivating factor for you to find a better, make some better changes in your life. So there you go. If you'd like to know more, it's in the book, The Worst Case Scenario Survival Handbook. And I went through that fast because there was a lot of stuff there. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV, 1-800-259-7646. Also brought to you by RVWheelator.com. If you're buying an RV or selling an RV, check out RVWheelator.com and the Dollar Shave Club. Here's John and Heidi.
Thank you so much for listening to The John and Heidi Show. And you think of dinosaurs, what do you think of? What's the first image you see in your mind? If I say dinosaur, if you say Barney.
T-Rex.
If you say Barney, I'm going to laugh.
I'm not saying Barney.
T-Rex. So how would you describe T-Rex?
Huge, long neck.
And what would you say he would feel like? He or she?
Well, the T-Rex doesn't have a long neck, does it? Yeah, he kind of has a long neck. Yeah. I would say it would be scaly.
Okay. Well, leading paleontologist Garth Dyke of the University College Dublin says the Jurassic Park image of dinosaurs is wrong, and there's irrefutable evidence they were covered in feathers. Fossils from China, preserved by volcanic eruptions, still have the feathery plumage, including a dinosaur that looks remarkably like a Tyrannosaurus Rex. Dyke says museums may have to change all of their dinosaur models because they did look much more like giant birds than reptiles.
There's no... Really?
And they say it's likely T-Rex actually looked like a giant chicken.
Like Big Bird.
If you think about it, if you look at a chicken and you look at a T-Rex skeleton, there's an amazing similarity.
That all of a sudden makes him a little less intimidating.
Yeah. Oh no, T-Rex is chasing after me. For the longest time, they've known they laid eggs, so I guess it all makes sense. So now when they say what came first, the chicken or the egg,
but they couldn't
I'm going
fly.
with the egg. What?
He couldn't fly.
So
what does he need feathers
There's
for?
a lot of birds that don't fly. Doesn't mean they needed feathers just to fly. That's what they're saying they're covered with. I don't know. All I know is if you want to know more about it, Google it, because this is the last I know about it. Coming up, we got Girl Scouts versus the police. What? That's on the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by GunUp.com. If you're a gun lover, you'll be in heaven at GunUp.com. Built by experienced military veterans, shooting sports competitors, and publishing professionals. They have awesome stories and articles that are read by millions of gun enthusiasts. Check it out at GunUp.com.
Bad laws can make a criminal out of anybody, even a Girl Scout selling cookies. That's what happened in DeKalb County, Georgia. An overzealous cop managed to ticket 2 separate Girl Scout troops because they were going door to door without a permit.
Are you kidding me?
A troop leader argued with the officer until a sergeant showed up for backup. Incredibly, he too agreed that, sorry, the scouts have broken the law. You do need to be cited. The entire incident has blemished the good name of the DeKalb County PD, but the chief says that all charges will be dropped, and his officers are warned not to ticket the tots with the baked goods in the future. But the reason that they did it is there is a law on the books saying if you have items you're selling door to door, you need a peddler's license to do it. So all they were doing is really enforcing a law. And now here's the problem. If they can do it, who can't do it? It's going to be hard for anybody to get arrested now for doing that. So I think they opened up a whole can. I think what they should have done is said, you know what, we're gonna waive this, but you guys do need to get this license. It's not expensive. It's really simple.
No,
it's really
what they
easy.
need to just say is if you belong to an organization, like if you're
But
children
that's who
and
most
you're
of them
selling
are.
for your school,
Then they need to change the law. Then they need to change the law to make it say
that's just
that.
common sense.
But what I'm
My
saying is,
good
if there's
Lord, this is ridiculous.
if there's a law in the books that they're saying we're going to ignore that one, fine, ignore the speed limit for me, please. Come on. It'll be interesting to see what happens there. But the Girl Scouts versus the police. Who's going to be on the side of the police? Who's going to be on the side of the Girl Scouts? I love them both. You know, one sells me cookies, the other one protects me. I'm happy for both of you. I just think they need to change the law so you don't have to be a bad guy. All right, coming up, we've got some other fun stuff. We'll see if we can agree on that. On the way.
This portion of the program is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. You can get razors sent to your door each month for just $1, plus a couple of bucks shipping. It's an amazing deal. Log on to dollarshaveclub.com/radio to learn more. That's dollarshaveclub.com/radio. Now, back to the John and Heidi Show podcast.
3 ways to enjoy your life more. This is from modernmom.com. You ready for this?
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, number 1, turn it off. Turn off your computer. Put away your phone and just enjoy it. And it says here, if you're watching your kid's soccer game, leave your phone in the car. Instead of rushing to your computer first thing in the morning, sit down with your family and have breakfast. Talk about their day. This exercise will teach you to be more in the moment and enjoy your life, your real life, not that online thing that you tell everybody about on social media. And it'll help also keep you away from some of the work obligations and get to that when you get to that. But while you're with your family, spend time with your
That
family.
is great advice.
Another thing on here, there's 3 ways to enjoy life more. Number 2, appreciate nature. Being surrounded by nature and the beauty of the outdoors is meditative. Is meditative a word?
Yes.
I've never heard of that word. If you're working like a racehorse or carpooling kids here and there, it's easy to put this on the bottom of the list. It says just getting some fresh air will rejuvenate you physically and emotionally. Take your lunch break and get a brisk walk. Meet a friend early in the morning for a walk or a ride. Use the weekends as a time to explore your surroundings. But whatever you do, get outside and enjoy it.
I agree with that as
Should we
well.
go on a picnic today?
That'd be lovely.
Let's do that. We could do it in our backyard. We just tidied up our backyard. Let's do a picnic back there. And the last on the list from modernmom.com. 3 ways to enjoy your life more. Leave work at work. How many of you feel like you always find time to get things done for work, even if it means cutting into, family time? They're saying you don't need to bring work home. There's a balance. So leave the work at work. When you're home, spend time with the family. If you're on a date, don't constantly check your phone to see what work is saying. Be there for your family, be there for your loved ones, because you're missing out on a huge chunk of your life if you're always preoccupied with what's going on at work. So I have to agree with that. Although I'd probably say I'm probably the worst one at following that.
Yeah, I think we can all say we're guilty of that.
Need to get a lot better. Hey, again, those 3 ways to enjoy your life more from modernmom.com. Thank you so much for joining us right here on the John and Heidi Show.
This portion of the program is brought to you by DirecTV. Call 1-800-259-7646. They have hundreds of channels to choose from, with many packages to fit your viewing desires. Learn more at 1-800-259-7646.
We always try to end the program on a positive note, and I think this is a pretty darn positive note, but it starts out on a negative note. This happened in Chile. And some guys had their bicycles stolen. But you stole the bike from the wrong people this time, mister.
Uh-oh.
After having their bicycle stolen, some engineering students in Chile took matters into their own creative hands and created what they describe as an unstealable bike, which my computer tried to correct and say unstoppable bike. But it's an unstealable bike. That's not really a word. But it is now. The unstealable bike is the invention of these students, and it features a seat that you can take off, and that converts into a lock that goes around a basic pole. So you can park this by a tree, you can park it by a sign, you can park it by a parking meter, any kind of pole, and within 30 seconds you'll have your bicycle attached where they cannot steal your bicycle without destroying the bicycle. So they could steal it, but then it's no good anymore. Because the entire frame of the bicycle is wrapped around something, so it makes it really cool. It's technically possible, engineers say. Thieves would have to saw through the bicycle frame to remove it, therefore making it not worth stealing. So now if you're stealing the bike, you're just being a jerk because you couldn't even use it anymore. I do have a story on this. I put a link on the Facebook page, facebook.com/John and Heidi Show. Go check it out and you can see what they look like. It's actually a good-looking bike. It's a nice-looking bike. I could go for one of those. It really is. I could go for any bike. I'd like to get a bike. We should go for a bike ride.
How many times can you say bike in one second?
After our picnic, we're going on a bike ride on our bikes that we don't have. Let's go get some bikes, and then we can go on a bike ride. Did I say bike enough?
Yeah,
All right.
exactly.
Why are you laughing at me?
It was just so funny.
I didn't mean
bike,
to.
Bike.
See? If I throw enough hints out there, I might end up getting a bike. Just saying. All right. Time to say goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, Heidi.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a great day. We'll talk to you again tomorrow. I hope you'll be here again. Got another fun-filled, action-packed program. And coming up tomorrow, it's a special day. Tomorrow's Heidi's birthday. So we're going to have a really special program. I'm not sure exactly what we're doing, but we're going to come up with something. It's all on the way. Thanks for listening to The John and Heidi Show.
Time now for the bonus break. Only available here on the John and Heidi Show podcast.
And the world-famous bonus break is brought to you by the Dollar Shave Club. You can learn more at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. When you get there, you can click onto the different options and buy the razors that you want for the price that you want. You can get the really expensive ones. They're actually not bad. It's $9 a month delivered to your door. You can get the middle-of-the-road ones. They're really good, too, a bargain at $6 a month. Or you can get the basic, most affordable, and it's $1 a month plus $2 shipping, so it's $3 a month for that one. It's amazing, and they'll bring them to your door. The only thing they won't do is shave you. Maybe they would if you threw in a couple extra bucks, but no guarantees on that. You can learn all about it at dollarshaveclub.com/radio. What are you typing over there? You look like you're really busy at work.
I am.
What is going on?
I'm trying to set some people up.
Oh, you're working on matchmaking stuff?
I am working on matchmaking.
Devious. Well, sales assistants stopped by a robbery in a supermarket. They stopped a robbery? They stopped a robbery. They didn't stop by
a robbery. Robbery, let's go check it out.
Let's go check that out. They stopped a robbery at a supermarket. I can't talk. Sales assistants stopped a robbery in a supermarket by pelting the thieves with tins of chocolate spread.
Oh.
4 masked robbers threatened staff and demanded money in a raid on an Italian store. They gave up, though, and fled after the staff started throwing tins at them. I think these would be like cans.
Well, yeah.
It's like cans of soup, but it was cans of chocolate spread. The gang demanded money from the tills. A supermarket in Italy is where they were. They refused. They kidnapped 2 customers.
Oh.
They gave up when sales assistants and the managers, who were hiding behind a display of chocolate and hazelnut spread, started throwing the tins at the burglars. They reportedly wounded the burglars, and one of them was bleeding. They did leave the customers alone, and they fled the shop.
You're hearing more and more about employees that are saying, I'm not putting up with this.
We're not going to take it. no,
I think that's
we
pretty
ain't gonna
great.
take it. I worked at a grocery store when I was in high school, and there had been robberies at this grocery store. Now, you got to understand, when I was in high school, kids, gather around the radio here, or the computer, let me tell you about it. When I was in high school, pop or soda, depending on where you happen to live, was in glass bottles. And the glass bottles were in quart sizes. And if you don't know what a quart is, there's 4 of those make a gallon, but it's a pretty good jug. And you used to buy 6-packs of these, and then the bottles were refundable, so people would bring empty bottles in. And where I would stand at this grocery store, there was a giant stack of, at any given time, maybe a dozen 6-packs of empty bottles. I had in my mind figured out that if somebody were to rob that store, what I was going to do,
save the day.
Right next to the quart bottles was the safe. So I'll get the money out of the safe. When I went over to get the money out of the safe, I was going to thump them with a quart bottle.
You used to have fantasies about what the newspaper articles were going to say.
No,
about
I didn't care about the news. I just thought, how cool would it be to foil a robbery? Because that would have been awesome. I was like, that'd be so cool. It never did happen. Nobody ever robbed the place. But it was robbed like 5 times before I started working there. As soon as I started working there, no robberies. I'm like, what?
Because they knew you had a plan.
We were out on the edge of town. So
they were intimidated by your brilliance.
They probably walked in and said, that guy right there, he looks like he might put up a struggle. That chubby little kid over there, he's probably got a little fight in him. I'll bet. Okay, back to this. In Arkansas, a couple wanted to go to the movies so badly, they were willing to put it all on the line to do so. Having no money, teenage movie lovers Alan and Jessica Powell decided to simply steal the money so they could go to the show. Alan put on a Scream mask, and Jessica acted as the getaway driver. Alan simply walked into a store, demanded money, and got it, and he left and drove away. The couple was arrested 32 minutes later in Blackwell when authorities identified the getaway car. They were charged with armed robbery and attempted escape, all because they wanted to go on a date to the movies. That's sad. Kids, don't do that. Don't rob somebody so you can go on a date to the movies.
Wow.
Go home and watch something on TV. Or get a job and save some money.
Exactly. Get a job. That would be better advice. Get a job.
Let's end things here in Iowa. While an Iowa couple was robbing a convenience store, the woman noticed a contest entry form while waiting.
Oh, no way!
Yeah, while waiting for her boyfriend to finish the robbery. She thought, hey, that'd be cool to win this stuff. She filled out the form complete with her name and address and phone number. A few hours later, the police were there because they did win something.
Goodness.
A free trip to jail.
Yeah, free night stay in prison.
Yes, congratulations. Is this Mr. and Mrs. Bonehead Robber? Yeah,
and
you guys
most likely
won.
a free court-appointed attorney.
Yes,
so.
You guys are amazing. You are big-time winners. I hate it when this happens. Look at that. The whole back page blank. I feel like such a...
wasting paper.
I did. I wasted that whole back side of that. And then meanwhile, I had to print something over here. I don't like that. One of these days, I'm going to learn how to do all this stuff where I, don't waste any paper at all. But until that day, at least I'm saving money on razors. If you'd like to do that...
Nice.
Thank you.
Nice segue.
If you'd like to save money on your razors so you can waste as much paper as you want, go to dollarshaveclub.com/radio.